This episode of the Inside Running podcast is proudly brought to you by ASICS. The global performance brand of choice is excited to announce the newest iteration of a running favourite, the GEL-KAYANO 31. The 4D guidance system provides adaptive and on-demand stability, supporting runners in every step of their run. Visit asics.com or your specialty running store to grab your pair today.
Welcome to episode number 350 of the Inside Running podcast. Thank you for joining us for another week. Got a big show coming at you this week. We're talking about Australian setting world records and Australian records. We've got some results coming in from all over the place overseas in the build up to the Paris Olympics. Leanne Pompeani is popping in thanks to ASICS Australia. A pretty good listener question here, Bradley. Some drug news, some whispers, moose on the loose, and a bit of stuff to preview in what's coming up. Welcome, my co-host. He's down in Anglesea this week. Was sitting next to me on stage last week. Julian Spence, how you going?
I'm all right, mate. 350 we're at.
350. So this was Monday morning, the morning after the live show, wasn't it?
Well, 350.
No, sorry. I'm talking about Jess Hull ran 350. You're talking about episode 350.
No, I'm trying to work out. Is this some kind of inside joke I'm missing? I should be getting it because I'm on the inside, but I'm not.
Yeah, no, sorry. I was like, oh yeah, we are at 350s for Australian women. That's where we're at, down that low. But we'll get to that later. Yes, congratulations on making it to episode 350. Welcome to my other co-host. He's up in Canberra, Bradley Croker. 350, we made it. How you going?
Good, Brady, but I'm actually down in Melbourne.
Oh, yeah, you are too. You got the heart stuff going on. I forgot that.
Yeah, so just in a hotel room. Just actually, my bag got at the airport this morning. Got pulled aside, and they're like, "Oh, you got a big stamp or something in here?" I'm like, "Nah." They go, "Oh, we need to check your bag." Opened it up, and it was my microphone. The microphone. They didn't like it on the scanner.
That was in just carry on.
Yeah, I had carry on today.
That's happened to me before.
Brady.
Yes.
This bloke ain't paying for bags. This is the guy. Get on the back. He's going to have like a 25 kilo backpack on, lugging it in, trying to jam it up the top. That's the kind of operator Croaks.
Get someone in 6 jumpers.
Flew down with Qantas, so I was entitled to a checked bag, but I'm only here for one night, so I didn't see the point.
So was today the day you did the testing and stuff, or was that tomorrow?
No, both. So I did a VO2 max test on the bike this afternoon, and then I've got a MRI tomorrow with like a contrast, and I have to exercise as well in the MRI machine.
MRI machine, you have to exercise?
Yeah, they put pedals at the end of it, so you're pedaling while you're having an MRI.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
There's a bit going on. Like, don't they make a stack of noise, MRI machines?
Yeah, not too bad.
Okay. Never been in one myself, but this is going to be interesting, Croaks, getting some of this kind of data.
Yeah, well, today went pretty well. He said, there was nothing too alarming by the max test, so that's good. They actually had they were doing, the 9 News were doing some segment on a person that suddenly passed away. And so they had a film crew in there, like filming the max test, and asked me a few questions about how I ended up here. So I'm not sure where that's going to be screened, probably in Melbourne, I'm guessing.
Okay,
Who
when?
was it? What channel?
It was Channel 9.
Oh, here we go. Big couple of weeks for you on TV for the pacemaking, and then on for this hospital footage.
Yeah, there you go. Anyway, it's all good.
Is that why you talking to me about your running? Like, you backed off yesterday, only 90 minutes to stay fresh for the VO2 max test today?
No, actually, it was more about just having a bit of a reset after Gold Coast. So I reached out to my old coach before Gold Coast and said, "Oh, would you be open to having just a chat about what I should be doing differently, or just with the Melbourne prep coming up?" So I spoke to him for I don't know about like 40, 50 minutes on Friday night, and one thing was just like, because I said to him that at the moment, like, I'm pretty fit, but I don't feel like I'm moving that well. Like, everything just seems to be like I'm just sort of grinding it out. And he said, look, I don't think you need to run a lot of kilometers, like, given how long you've been doing the sport. Like, he's like, I think you could run a good marathon off 120, 130, which, like, I sort of agree, but like mentally I prefer to be doing more. So I'm going to give that a go. But he also pointed out that other than the week before Gold Coast and the Wollongong half marathon weekend, like, I'd done like 5, 6, 7 runs of like 32 to 36K in the lead up. So it's like, you've banked a lot of long runs already. Why not for the next 3, 4 weeks? Just like, cap it at 2 hours, just reduce the mileage a bit, just aim to try and feel good, get on top of the hip, and then you probably only need, the last 8 weeks to really like focus again on a marathon prep. So that's why I only did 90 minutes on Sunday.
This is Ben Wisby, listeners.
Yep.
If you're interested in who Ben Wisby is, episode 30 of the Inside Running podcast, back in May 2018. He was the guy that coached you to the 217, wasn't he?
Yeah, correct.
Jeez. I like this from Croaks. Moose?
Why do you get dumped for again?
Well, like, he didn't really get dumped. It was more after I sort of injured myself at the end of 2018, and then I just had those like constant years of just shit. I just sort of, I don't know, just like went off a program and just did my own thing. But like, he's not necessarily like coaching me again now, but it was more just like big picture type things, like, just giving me ideas of the stuff that I should focus on for the next month. And then we'll probably maybe touch base in a month's time. And then, when we start to get a bit more marathon specific.
Okay, good. Tell me about how you recovered. Take me Monday through to Sunday.
Yes, I flew home on Monday. I pulled up pretty well, like a little bit of DOMs in, I don't know, like maybe quads, but like nothing. It was funny walking around the Gold Coast. I'm sure you guys experienced it well. You could tell who had run like a half marathon or a marathon over the weekend, like people just limping around the streets. I definitely wasn't like that. Hip was a little bit like bit ordinary in the morning, but nothing major. So like I pulled up fairly well, flew home. I got home sort of mid-afternoon. I was umming and ahhing whether I was going to go out for an easy run, but I figured I'd been away since Wednesday. I should probably just stay at home and chill out. So I didn't run at all on Monday. Then Tuesday afternoon, I went out for an hour at 4:25s before heading out to training just to coach. So I wasn't obviously going to do a session on the Tuesday. Wednesday, I did 90 minutes, 4:14s. I was feeling okay. Like, I was sort of a bit unmotivated, I suppose. Like, you sort of come off the hype of the weekend of just the atmosphere of those events. And then it's like, okay, well, that was like what I was sort of training for, initially. Now it's like, okay, I need to just reset. But in that reset period, it's often like, lacking a little bit of motivation. So anyway, that was 90 minutes on the Wednesday. Thursday, I did 45 minutes, and I wore the Brooks Hyperion Max 2, which we'll review a little bit later on, a few weeks, I guess. Didn't mind it. It sort of reminded me a little bit of the original Zoom Fly, like a pretty sort of stiff shoe. So that was around Yerrabee Pond and the bike paths. So that was 4:10s. I did actually feel quite good running. And then on Friday, I didn't join the group for a session Friday morning. Just the way, like, my hip doesn't give me any grief while I'm running once it warms up, and it only takes like 500 meters to like warm up and feel normal. But getting out of bed in the mornings, it's actually pretty ordinary. And the other thing I did during the week as well was not just reach out to my old coach, but go back and see my old soft tissue therapist, Jimmy Barker, who we've also had on the podcast. And he probably knows my body best because there was a period there probably like 10, 15 years ago where I was actually seeing him every week at his house. Every Thursday night I was heading over there. So I went and saw him during the week, and he sort of did a few assessments, and he reckons like my left glute, which is like the issue I'm having, all my issues with my hip, it's a little bit like wasted away compared to my right. And then my hip flexor, I think it's like the TFL or whatever, is like really sort of overloaded. So he did some stuff. He basically said I need to, massage the TFL, like stop that from getting angry, and then obviously do like a few more sort of glute med exercises and stuff like that. So then, Friday, didn't go and meet the group in the morning just because my body is not great. So I'd have to be up for a couple of hours beforehand. So I just did a treadmill session, actually. So in the afternoon, I just warmed up from home out on the bike paths, went back to the garage, did 5 by 6 minutes with 1 minute rest. And these actually went pretty well. So I did 4 reps at 17.5K an hour, which was 326s, and then 1 rep at 18K an hour, which was 320s. Wore the heart rate strap. Heart rate didn't get like crazy high. I reckon I was probably like, where did I get up to? Like low 160s. But like Moose was saying the week before, it's like perceived effort is a lot, so most of these reps were at the pace that I was running the marathon at. But in terms of my turnover and how much effort I had to put in to do it, it definitely felt harder than that. But my heart rate was about the same as the marathon effort, if that makes sense. And then, did a bit of a longer cool down through Mulligans after that, bumped into one of my athletes who was out there doing a session, so ran with him for a bit. Saturday, just went out for 47 minutes, 421s. And then Sunday was my long run, which, I didn't go out till 11 o'clock. Only had 90 minutes, listened to the Road to Gold Coast finale. So that was 21.4 at 412s. I actually wore the Cloud Monster on this run. So I haven't worn the Cloud Monster for a long time. And it's funny how when new shoes come out and then you go back to these old shoes, you're like, oh, this doesn't feel as good as it used to. Like, I remember when I first wore the Cloud Monster, I was like, oh, yeah, this is good. Like, I've got a bit of pop. But then you go to something like the Neo Vista, and then you go back to like the Cloud Monster, and I'm like, oh, this feels pretty hard. Like, I don't feel like I'm getting much back from this shoe. So I'm not sure if the new versions of the Cloud Monster are any different to the original one. Are they, Moose? Are they a bit more poppier and more cushioned?
They're actually softer, but the fit is quite different. I'm not sure it's been as well received. In fact, I know it's not as well received as the first one.
Is that a hyper one, Moose?
No, it's the Cloud Monster 2.
Oh, okay.
So they softened up the foam, and I'm just not sure it works for that shoe. I liked it being a bit firmer, and that was sort of what was going for it, I reckon, is that it provided a contrast to a lot of the softer ones out there. But it got softer. And they did bugger the fit up a bit on it.
Is that out now, or have you just got early release?
No, it's been out for 4 months. I reckon it came out while we were in. I reckon it came out while we were in Japan, maybe.
Yeah. Okay. Was there a hyper one or something like that as well?
Yeah, Cloud Monster Hyper. I really like that shoe. That's like their Super Blast. It's got PEBA foam. It doesn't use as much of the Cloud Tech underfoot. I ran in it this morning and I just thought, oh, I forgot how good this shoe was. Like, it just feels so smooth to me, and it's a really nice fit as well. So I prefer the Cloud Monster Hyper over the Cloud Monster, but it's an extra $60.
That sounds like that's the one I need, because it's really hard to go back to firmer shoes when you've been doing so much in these softer, poppier shoes.
No, but it's good for you, isn't it?
It is probably, it is.
You need to just pencil in 2 nights a week to be in those shoes. And I'm talking even more basic than the Cloud Monster.
You got the peg, right? You got the peg?
Yeah.
Get in the peg. Yeah. Get in what was that Solomon one you hooked me out with, Moose?
Oh, the Glide Max. That's a good shoe, isn't it?
Yeah. You wouldn't put that in the same category as like Super Blast, Cloud Monster, Neo Vista?
No way.
I enjoy going back to that, like that style of shoe a couple of days a week.
Yeah, I mean, the shoes
They're
have come
still
a long
bloody
way.
good shoes.
Yeah, you don't want to be, don't go back to shit shoes just because you feel like you're cheating or whatever, or you think it's not good for you. Like, if there's good shoes out there, wear them. I don't think you always have to go back to wearing cheap, like lower quality shoes. But it's probably just looking at the geometry of the shoes. That's what you want to mix up in your rotation. Just don't always wear the big stiff ones. Sometimes wear the more flexible shoes or some that are a bit firmer.
Also, I think the Cloud Monster's probably a bit better if I'm on the roads than the trails. Probably just doesn't do it justice, I don't reckon, the trails. But anyway, so that was about 100K for the week.
Good. Did you
I'm
talk
taking
about
100K?
Yeah, you talk about like waking up and having the sore hip. Was it significantly worse on the Monday morning waking up after the pace job?
No, not really. I'm trying to sort of work it out, and it seems to be definitely more angry after a session. So like Saturday morning, it was probably the worst it was all week, and that was after the Friday afternoon session. But then it does settle pretty quick. So I'm not overly concerned. I'm just hoping that by lowering my mileage a little bit, doing a few more of these sort of glute exercises, it'll just gradually settle. Because as I said, I'm not having any issues while I run. And I figure if you're not having any issues while you run, why would you stop training? So
You're in a good spot, though, for Melbourne. Like 12 weeks yesterday, wasn't it?
13.
13 yesterday. So, like, you've banged a 30K at 95% marathon pace. You've done all that work that you did in the lead up to the Gold Coast. Like, this is you've chucked some big hay in the barn early, which is why Ben is saying, hey, maybe just relax for a couple of weeks before you go again.
Yeah, and I'm glad I had that chat, because I reckon if I didn't chat to him, I probably would have done a lot longer on Sunday. And so now I'm just going to, not have any super long sessions, try and throw a little bit more speed work in without being like too greedy with it. So like you were saying, like, why don't you try to do something like just do eight 400s off like a minute recovery. Don't blow the doors off, but it's, it's like a little bit of speed work, and then go and do some like tempo efforts afterwards. So like just doing a little bit of that over the next month, where it's more about just trying to, in a month's time, feel like you're covering the ground well or moving well, because that's probably been my biggest issue lately. Is it's like physiologically I've got really fit, but I don't feel like I'm actually that efficient at the moment. And like, because he's coached me before, like he knows that if my body's good and I'm covering the ground well, the fitness just naturally comes, and I'll run well. So that's the focus over the next month, is just get my body good and feel like I'm moving well.
We could have said that, Moose, and he just wouldn't have listened to us.
Oh yeah,
could have given that same advice, but just would have went in one ear, out the other one.
Well, I think we've been giving him a lot of advice that he hasn't listened to for the last few years.
Yeah. Do you guys like that advice?
Yes, I do. Yep. Remember when you asked me if I was going to do marathon workouts in the lead up to the pacing job at Gold Coast? And I kind of said the same thing.
I don't know if I asked you that.
Yeah, you're like, when are you going to start your build or something? I'm like, nah, not till later, because I've come out of a build.
But you're going pretty big now. Like your Sundays are solid. If you're doing this all the way through to Chicago,
2.5 hours in the hills down at the farm, get my 450 meters of elevation. That's the goal for the next couple of weeks. But anyway, let's hear from you, Moose. You're back going all right, entering races.
I did enter a race actually. I signed
up. Had a scare though, didn't you? Injury scare?
A little bit. Nothing drastic. I wouldn't say it's a scare. It was later in the week. I started in Queensland. I was beat up from that Sunday. that nailed me. I'm not sure whether it was that combined with the workout the day before and into like a longer run on the concrete, but I woke up sore calves mainly. I jogged 40 minutes. Didn't love a second of this. It was pretty awful. Did it in the afternoon. Ran out to not even sure. Didn't make it to the spit really. Turned around out there. Real awkward one. When you're running with a lot of people on these trails. It's probably the same for people around the tan in Melbourne. And you're running like, let's say I'm going 5 to 10 seconds per K faster than the person in front of me. That is like a lady with headphones in. And so we're getting towards the spit. The crowds have thinned a lot. And so it's sort of just me and her running, but I'm just slowly creeping up on her. And it gets to a point where you're like really close, but you're not running fast enough to just go straight around. You have to you're kind of sneaking up. And then there's a period where you're like running next to each other, but she can't really hear you because you got headphones in. It is so awkward. I have no idea what the etiquette is there. Like, do you say hello as you run past? But then after you say hello, you're kind of still next to them for a while. So it remains awkward. What do you think you should do in that case? Speed up?
Yeah, I would. You want to make her feel as comfortable as possible.
No, I'm not talking about... It's not all about her, mate.
It is in this situation.
Being awkward.
She doesn't know that you're there. You want to get on as very far wide as you can. Go past as very quick as you can. Might startle her with the speed you go past in, but she's settled once she knows you're fast going in the direction.
We're on the Gold Coast, mate. I'm allowed to run on that path.
I'm not saying you're not allowed to.
You're making me feel bad for running past someone on the Gold Coast path. I don't feel bad at all for running past. If she wants more awareness, she can take her headphones out. That's on her. I'm talking about the social awkwardness that it is when you come up and you're like running the same sort of pace as someone in the same direction. That is really awkward. You probably wouldn't get it.
But you said you're running like 10 seconds a K faster. Like, you're moving,
it's not that much.
It doesn't take long to run past them at that.
It's enough where you've made eye contact, you've sort of said like hello, but you're still in the same area for a long time. And that's included the bit where you've run behind her for probably 10 or 15 seconds.
How have you made eye contact if she's in front of you going in the same direction?
Well, you're going past her at a slow rate. Like you look at
as you go past.
Yeah, do you look across and say hi, or do you just keep looking straight and ignore
Look straight ahead and just put your hand out with a bit of a wave or a thumbs up or something.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's a good option. Yeah.
This situation gets even more awkward if they've got a dog off leash. Because you're they don't have time to put that dog on a leash. You're not sure if that dog's going to chase you. And then the dog will see you before the person sees you. You're just not sure what you're getting into.
Yeah, do you get chased by a lot of dogs?
Sometimes I'll just turn around if I'm in that situation. Go somewhere else. Sometimes, yeah. Yeah. I'm just like, I don't want that shit. I don't know what can happen, and I don't want to go down that path.
It would be hilarious watching you get chased by a dog.
And all these signs, dog off leash area, but you must be able to control it. Or what about when they jump up on you? It's like, oh, he won't bite. It's all good. And I'm like, piss off. Like, I just want to enjoy my run. I don't want to be dealing with your dog.
I know.
We've been there before with dog chat.
It's bad dog ownership.
Yeah.
But it's still making me laugh.
Move to Canberra, mate. No dogs allowed in Mulligans.
At all.
Oh, yeah.
Nature reserve.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Hey, I have a question about Mulligan's Track Club. It's different to the Agony of the Feet. We've worked that out, haven't we?
We have worked that out, yes.
Yeah. Two different powerhouses in Canberra. And then you got Team Telford.
Next question is, are all your coaching athletes Mulligan's Track Club? Like, is that the name for your coaching business?
Well, no, I don't really have a name like for the coaching business. It's sort of, I don't know. Like, some people, it's probably more of a Canberra-based thing. But then there's like a few people that I coach remotely that have said, "Oh, can I, get a singlet," sort of thing. So, I don't know. It's not that official, I suppose. But yeah.
Hope the ATO's not listening.
There was a few singlets getting around Gold Coast though.
That's what I was alluding to. I'm like, I was running past someone on the Goldie wearing a Mulligan's Track Club singlet.
Yeah, well, there's a fair few people from Canberra that went up to race.
Yeah.
Do you sell them for merch, Croaks? Like, if someone listening just wants to buy a singlet?
Well, I don't have that much. No, I don't have that much stock. So it's generally just to the athletes that I coach. Like, because I just,
You should get some stock. Put it on Moose's website and we'll see how many we can sell. Inside Running Podcast will take a chip.
They're good singlets, though, aren't they?
Steigen, aren't they?
They stand out.
Yeah, they're nice singlets. Nice design.
I don't know about the colour.
Well, it's different.
Yeah, it's different. I'm not sure on it. Not sure.
Bit of Nike Oregon project inspiration there. I reckon. You remember they had like the split singlets, and I guess Oregon, was it Oregon Track Club? They're like that dark green.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The dark green. The project was the skull logo. I thought
but they also had the singlet split in half. Well, actually, Nike.
It was just a Nike Pro kit that year. Yeah. They had the green and the blue. Anyway, what day are we up to, Moose?
Monday. Tuesday, I got home and I was fucked from traveling. It's such I didn't want to go on this run at all, but I got out, ran 2K with the dog just to give him some stretchy legs, and then I let him jump on some people, Brady. Then I went and ran 50 minutes in the trails. I did a bit of an out and back, and I was like just willing myself on to make the turnaround, not be super short. So I knew the further I went, the longer my run would actually end up being. So I got it out to 50 minutes. Then I did a treadmill workout on the Wednesday. I did 3 by 10 minutes on the treadie. So I probably ran this at a slightly easier heart rate than what I would do if I was going shorter thresh reps. So the average heart rate's 153, 157, 154. I do think that on that last one, that the heart rate monitor dropped out for a fair bit. So that's probably not that accurate. It was.
What do you reckon, Moose? Because we established that your heart rate's lower on the treadmill versus outside. What do you reckon if you were running the same effort outside? Do you reckon your heart rate would be a bit higher?
Yes. Yeah, I do.
What, low 160s?
No, I'd say high 160s.
Okay, so what's that? What's that? 15 beats higher.
Probably 10 beats. Like by the time it gets up, I'm going pretty. Also, the good thing about the treadie is you're just controlled in your pace, so you don't scream out the gates. Your heart rate goes up and then you slow down. You just put the treadie on the one speed and it allows you to get up to threshold a lot more evenly and slowly. That's why I think that they are good for thresholds. Because if you have a look at someone's reps when they do thresh reps outside, you'll see a spike in the pace just because they're looking at a lower heart rate on their watch. And then all of a sudden there's a pretty quick dive when they realize that the heart rate's got to the point they want. And then there's just a slow sort of decrease in pace across the rest of the rep. Yeah. Whereas on the treadie, you can just dial it in. I did slow it down a little bit towards the end as the heart rate started to get up. But I felt pretty shit still. And so I just wanted something simple. Did it, 30 minutes isn't that long, but by the end of the last 10 minutes, I was kind of finished. I ran the next morning, 45 around town. And then I ran in the Arvo. I did a few threshold tests on, a couple of Surf Coast Track Club fellas in at Geelong after we knocked off work. They jumped on, got their results, and I warmed up with Will, cooled down with Lockie. Then the next day, Pistol, you got blokes that mess Pistol. Well, he come down to Anglesea, 40th birthday, came back home, the sun returns, and we ran an hour 10. I ended up getting up 70 minutes, so that was pretty good for me. We went fairly early because I had a meeting at 8, so this was pretty much all in the dark. He's a half step and for some reason he doesn't run with people ever, and at about 3k in, I was thinking, wow, why is he pushing the pace like this, especially when he's the way less fit one? And so we got halfway up a hill. I'm like, you got to back this off. 1, I don't want to run this fast. And 2, you're going to blow up. And by the end, he was having a hard time up hills. So he just did a workout 5 by 6 minutes the next morning. Did this down on Camp Road, which is a bit of an undulating road just down along in front of the school in Anglesea. I didn't really have a a goal pace. I went to heart rate. It was bloody freezing this day. Like, what does it say? 5. Feels like 5. That's actually not that bad, really, when you think about it. It's been a lot colder in Canberra. I averaged 322, 318, 321, 319, 317. Just stay into heart rate pretty much. I did get a little bit of cart tightness in the last rep, and that's something I've been getting a little bit lately towards the end of the workouts. So I decided to call it at 5 reps, not 6. I did want to do a long run later that day. I mean, a long run the next day. I didn't really feel the calf in the cool down too much. And I didn't feel it in the long run the next day. We went out to the chocolate factory. We ran about 2 hours, bit less. The weather's been shocking down here. All the trails are like messed up, muddy and gross. And they're just, it's not much fun unless you got some pretty solid trail shoes on. So we ran a loop that sort of ran a lot more road and dirt road. It was a lot flatter than normal. Got up to 421 pace. That wasn't me. I made sure I stuck back to mid-pack this whole way. And yeah, the pace never got too out of control. I did have my heart rate in my pocket. I couldn't get the tightness right when I was running it. I had to go under a long sleeve top, so it was really difficult to get on. So I just pocketed it, and then somehow it started picking up heart rate through my ass where it was next to, but it wasn't picking it up very accurately. Yeah, it's a bit of a mess. So it was about 100K, I reckon, for the week, maybe 100, maybe a bit more than 100. Let me have a look. Just a bit less than last week. 109. Entered Bundoora, signed up to Deacon. Going to cost Bree and I, how much was it? Was it $49 each or something to run at Bundoora? Was that right? So $98 for the two of us to go and run that race. I thought that was a bit savage considering it's just cross country. Like, there's no road closure or anything. What do you reckon about that? $50 for a cross country race.
Well, it's probably cheap compared to the fun run scene, but it's a bit different, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I guess it is cheap. I mean, paying for some officials, are you? Bit of timing. Paying to keep it going. I'm not saying it's too much. I'm just wondering if it is too much or not.
So you can do that for each round, Moose. You can just pay $50 for each competition.
Well, I paid $250 membership to be able to run.
Or to be able to score points for your team, you need to be an active member. But you could have just paid an invitation fee and not scored. Would that still be $50?
I think it's more than 50 if you do that.
Okay.
I think it is. I'm not sure.
Yeah, you can enter every round though, Croaks.
Yeah, you don't have to take out a season membership.
Okay. What's it work out per race if you take out a season membership? Done the maths, Brady?
Yeah, I have. I don't have that number in front of me at the moment, which I did take out the season membership. But yeah, the 4 or 5 relays, Moose, out of the 10. They get covered by Athletics Bendigo anyway. So whatever it is, you divide it by 5 or 6 individual races.
Yeah, okay.
And then you're entering very late in the season, though.
Yeah, I know.
You're paying your rego with 5 races to go.
I haven't run one yet, have I?
Yeah, and you probably won't run all 5, will you? Maybe.
Well, I'll try to. I'll see how it goes.
Ekiden Relays in Ballarat, near Ballarat. That's a good one to miss.
Yeah, that is a good one to miss. I've done that the last couple of years too.
Yeah, that's rough.
Maybe not.
Needs to run so they don't get relegated.
Oh, you guys in trouble, Moose?
We are safe. I don't know what Croak's on about. We are safe, mate. And we're coming into our own. Back half of the year, Geelong normally steps up a bit.
Yeah, longer races on the road.
Yeah, deep teams. People getting training from Melbourne. Gold Coast is out of the way. Like, it works out pretty well for Geelong. Got a few bets on too, so people are showing up. Chance to win slabs off me. Got a new one this week. We'll put it out there in the public. So Kramers, your mate, he took a bet saying that Matt Gunther would be more than 30 seconds in front of me at Bundoora.
Oh, that's a good bet. I'll take that as well, I reckon.
Yeah?
Matty Gunther's been going pretty well.
30 seconds.
How much training have you been doing the last month?
Not much, but...
I'm looking at your bars now. There's not much happening here.
This is what he needs, though.
You've done 2 weeks of 100K and you're taking on Matty Gunther.
Yeah, no, I'm taking on him minus 30 seconds.
That's the line, 30 seconds.
Well, actually, I looked after him.
You struggled at Bundoora last year when you were fit as well. I reckon that's a good bet from Ryan Cramry.
Yeah, I gave him 30 seconds because they said a minute, and I'm like, I'm not just taking your beer that easy. Like, I'll give you 30 seconds because that's just not fair.
What's he like across country? Because it's different. It is different to road.
He wasn't that far behind.
Road.
No, he wasn't that far behind me at that Bendigo 8K one not so long ago.
He's a bit of a gimp.
I reckon he's in some good form, Matty Gunther.
A bit too lopey for cross country. Right. I don't know about it. I don't like him at cross country.
Yeah, proof will be in the pudding, won't it?
Yeah, I like this.
That's right. It is fun. It makes things interesting. And I've been getting up running a bit more because of this, and you can't get injured too. So if I get injured before it and bail out, I'm paying slabs. So it makes me be smarter. I got to get to the start line.
I also think it'll give you a bit of extra motivation come race day, like knowing that you're not super fit, you're not going to be at the pointy end of the field, but it's enough to like get that mongrel out of you.
He was only 40 seconds behind me at Bendigo, Moose.
40 seconds?
Yeah.
You're coming off a marathon.
Over 8K.
You said you did it at tempo.
No, that was the Hanging Rock one.
Oh, I don't remember this.
Was
that before Ballarat?
That was... No, this is the one like 3 or 4 weeks ago. Bendigo 8K. That was like 6 weeks, 7 weeks after Ballarat.
I don't remember.
All right, I got to whistle through this because Leanne's coming in soon, boys. I also had Monday off. I travelled back from the Gold Coast. Long trip home. Driving home from the airport's the hardest bit, isn't it, Moose?
I hate it. It's just that last kick in the guts, isn't it?
Waiting for your bags, get your car. Then you got like 3 hours in the car, 2.5 hours. So that was tough. Didn't run Monday because, same as you, Croaks. Wanted to see the family. Tuesday, 70 minutes at 4:40 pace in the morning, 7K in the afternoon, 4:41 pace. Wednesday, 90 minutes easy, 4:41 pace. Look at that, 3 runs really close to each other at the same pace. Just noticed that now. Wednesday Arvo, 7K at 4:47 pace. So my hip was a bit sore and my groin area, but I was starting to come good Wednesday, Thursday. But I definitely had some soreness. My left-hand side. Do you reckon it's the road up there? It's a dodgy road.
Yeah, I don't know if I mentioned it at the live show, but I had chafing between my knees. I've never experienced that in my life, and it's either the road or my lack of hip stability, and my knees are knocking. But yeah, I think the road is definitely it's not the best road. Yes, it's flat up there, but especially the south part, it's they could fix that up.
Yeah. Thursday did 70 minutes and some strides, and then 7K in the afternoon at 4:51 pace. Then Friday I did a workout, did a bit of a combo workout. I wanted to do some threshold stuff and some faster stuff. So I did 3 sets of 8 minutes at threshold and then 2 minutes jog, and then 3 by 1 minute on, 1 minute off. My 8 minutes were 3:19, 3:17 and 3:14. Couldn't really get the heart rate up. I reckon I struggled to get it much past 160, but mechanically it felt like I was working. So maybe still a bit of fatigue in the legs from Sunday. It was cold and just what you're talking about, Croaks. Low motivation, kind of just, wanted to get it done, wanted to do something. Felt like I had no speed in the 1 minute efforts. I was nearly all out on a few of them and running 3:02, 3:05 kind of pace.
That pacing job hurt you, didn't it?
Yeah, it knocked me around.
I thought you would have done that really easy.
Yeah, so did I. It just shows though that maybe you can wing a bit of 10K. I ran 30:11 3 or 4 weeks ago. I don't think I'm unfit, but I'm just not sure I got that much strength there.
Yeah, because you had that period where you weren't really doing long runs.
Yeah, it took me a long time to build back up to 2 hours. I think maybe 6 weeks post Ballarat. So I just don't have that strength there. But yeah, so yeah, it was just good to get a workout done, but it was nothing special. Did 6.5K in the afternoon there. Saturday, listened to you and Andy Blow talk about fuel and hydration, which was good. 16K at 4:32, then 7K at 4:44 pace in the Arvo. Then Sunday, went down to the farm at Colbo. Was meant to meet the other Crammers Moose, Luke Crammery, but he was sick. So woke up at 5 a.m. from a message from him saying he was a bit sick and wasn't going to meet me there. Which I
Too much champagne after the win from the Cats?
Well, I dodged a bullet there because I would have been putting up with his shit for 2.5 hours. He loves getting into me when Collingwood get beaten, especially by his Cats. So, yeah, I didn't mind him not rocking up because I just had 2.5 hours with the iPod. Just listened to some music, listened to a podcast, just cruised along. 4:23 pace for 2.5 hours, which I think was just over 34K. So, good week, 158K with a week off, just building that strength back. We got time on our side, Croaks. Bundoora this week for me as well. So, yeah, just trying to get that consistency back going.
How many weeks till Chicago?
We got 13 yesterday. Plenty of time.
Yeah. So you're the same day?
Me and Croaks the same day, yeah.
Oh, how are we going to cover this?
Yeah, well, I think I'm going a road to Chicago. So I think I'll be away in the build-up when Croaks is on the main show. But
are you going to go to you're going to go on a training camp?
Me?
Yeah.
No, I've got a job. I teach.
Oh, you don't work that much.
Yeah, well, I can't tell the kids have the day off.
What do you reckon, Moose? Should head to Boulder for a bit, lead up?
St. Moritz or something.
If he wants 216, he's got to do something. I reckon he could slip away. Take the kids. It's not that hard. Stay with Troopy. He lives over there.
Oh yeah, old Geelong teammates.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll welcome you in.
Yeah, you did it before Berlin, didn't you? 1 year.
Yeah, worked for me.
Imagine,
I like it.
Imagine going on a training camp. How good would that be, Croaks? You ever been on one like Moose used to go on those ones?
Not for a marathon prep, no.
He's been on 25 training camps.
I've been on a training camp before, back when Gold Coast Marathon was on, we would be in Noosa training. It's this is when I was just doing track. We'd get out of Sydney for, I don't know, a week or two during the school holiday period and go up there and train at Noosa.
Yeah, but that's just a couple of days. Moose used to go away for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
More than 3 weeks.
Yeah, but then you went to the race for another 2 or 3 weeks. It's a 5-week trip.
Bloody good. I loved it. That's what you do when you don't have kids or anything, isn't it?
Well, that's my point exactly, that I cannot go on a training camp before I go to Chicago for a week. I'm doing well getting to Chicago for a week, to be honest, I think. I'm very grateful for that opportunity. Hey, do you know it's 2 weeks before the US election as well? Chicago.
Trouble.
Yeah, I did become an expert in US politics yesterday afternoon.
Yeah.
Bit was happening there.
Yeah, stay away. What are you going to do for a week? You're going to get some content for your Instagram reels or something?
Hopefully someone can create the content for me and send it to me, and then I just post it from my account. That's always easy.
Take your own content creator.
No, I'm just going over. I think I'm going over the Tuesday or the Wednesday. And then when you fly back, it takes forever to get home. You lose a day. So it'll pretty much be a week all up. But anyway, let's talk about that later. Can we talk about our guest? Leanne Pompeani's here. She won the Gold Coast Half Marathon last weekend in 69:20. A massive thanks to ASICS Australia for making her available tonight. Leanne, we got you there?
Yeah. You can't get rid of me.
Sorry you had to listen to that training camp stuff while we had you on the line ready to go.
No, that's okay. I was just more thinking, well, despite my performances, the listeners can't get rid of me.
Hey, performances are good. This one on the weekend gone, that must have been, was it a shock for you? Because I feel like a few people watching that was a bit of a shock, bit of a return to form for you.
It sort of was, yeah. Obviously my trip overseas in Europe didn't go as I'd hoped. So I was a bit, very disappointed with that. And I just sort of wanted to get back onto the road sort of where I'm more comfortable and just enjoy racing again rather than, I think just the stress of everything, the Olympic year kind of makes it unenjoyable if you're not doing well. So, and I haven't really been training for half marathons. So I saw the field and I thought, well, I'm just going to try and hang on or go for the win. I don't really know what's going to happen. But, ended up running a bit quicker than I thought I would.
Yeah, you must be stoked with that. And then, like, is there a stage? I think of Jack Rayner a couple of years ago when I can't remember what year it was, but he made the decision not to go overseas and just dominated every single thing on the roads, picked up a whole stack of like prize money, kind of almost like made his profile a bit bigger too, I think, domestically. Like, are you in two minds when you do make decisions to travel if you should go or stay?
Well, obviously, I'm really disappointed that I didn't make the Olympics. But then I remember Ellie saying after her marathon performances and not making it, sort of saying, well, we've got such a fun Australian road racing calendar. So it's almost, it's upsetting not making the Olympics, but it's pretty fun to hit the roads around Australia. So you're not really losing.
Yeah, so many opportunities.
Pretty sure she won't you saying that now, because now she's going to come
really?
everywhere.
Now she's what, Moose?
Going to come second everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
No. But that's the thing. I was also thinking, well, everyone's sort of improved this year regardless. So even the women that just missed out on the Olympics, like I'm thinking like Holly Campbell, those kind of runners, like it's still going to be quite competitive over here.
Yeah, imagine rocking up to like Sunshine Coast half marathon and it's you, Lisa Waitman, Ali Pashley, Eloise Wellings. Like you don't make the podium and the other girls are at the Olympics. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Leanne, with that half marathon, so you've been overseas like training for sort of 5 and 10K, then you come back to Australia, not really like in half marathon training, but you beat Jess, who's running the Olympics in a few weeks' time. Does it make you think that like the roads is where you should be heading and potentially even the marathon?
Yeah, I do, but I'm not giving up on that 5K yet. I think my 5K, I will be very disappointed if I finish my career with a 15:20 5K PB. I think I did have a faster 5K. So I only did one 5K overseas, which was in Vienna at the end of my trip. And I made a lot of mistakes with that trip, just planning wise. Like I didn't race much. And if you look at all the other girls, they raced a lot. So the more times you race, especially 5K, when you can back up, you know, one of them's a hit, one of them's a miss, but the next one's a hit. Whereas I just gave myself one opportunity at a pace I'd never done before, but I still think is doable, you know, around that 15 or sub 15. So yeah, I'm not giving up on the 5K, but I do agree. The roads are definitely where I'm more comfortable. And I do think the marathon, when it comes, whether it's the end of this year or early next year, that'll be where my best performance comes.
And those lack of races overseas, was that largely due to you like not having a manager and having to organise it yourself, or was it because of your body, your hamstring? Like, why didn't you race more often?
Yeah, it's just I did do that. I did that whole trip by myself, organised it, and obviously I don't know. I've never done the Europe. I've done, you know, Flagstaff in America, but I haven't done the Europe trip. So I just didn't really know what to look for. Yeah, so there's some things I learned from the trip. Like I was definitely disappointed, but I've learned some things for next time.
What did you learn, Leanne? Tell us about what it's like behind the scenes.
Just race more. Be ready to race more when you get there. Not, especially the kind of year it is. Not use it just to train and then bank it all on one race. That wasn't the way to go. Yeah, I just looked at what all the other athletes were doing, and I should have been in more races because it gives you more opportunities. Even if, yeah, like I said, one doesn't hit, the next one might. It was pretty lonely for a little while because I went up to Font Romeu and I stayed in the ASICS house, which was very nice. It's a cool setup there. But it was very lonely because it was around the Euro champ. So even the Europeans had gone to Italy. So there were some nights, this is a big sort of chalet that sleeps maybe 15 people. And there were some nights I had the whole place to myself. So it was, pretty quiet. But actually, I got the work done. And I think my coach Des was saying, you know what, this is actually good for you. You're learning. It was 3 weeks all by myself, all the sessions, all the running. And he said, you know, this is good for just mental training, if anything.
Sorry, Moose. So there are days there where you were just like not having any human interaction then? Like just you by yourself?
Nearly, nearly, yeah. Except for maybe just like sneaking up for a coffee, but yeah, pretty much. I mean, there are a few international athletes floating around in the house. You'd see them once or twice a day in the kitchen, and yeah, that was it really.
Yeah, because it comes across as glamorous on social media. I'm not talking about like your stuff in particular, but often when people are away at training camps, and we just kind of did have that conversation about how good training camps are, but there's a downside to them as well at times.
Yeah, and I think if you've got your squad or your team going with you, that would make a big difference. Like I know it's very different for when we go to Perisher as our December, January altitude training to that trip that I just went on. When we go to Perisher, we've got, 2, 3, 4 different squads up there training. So it's different, but I'll definitely go back.
Yeah.
The girls running so fast overseas now, Leanne, you're beating a lot of them over the last few years. Is it difficult to watch that, just knowing that you're limited by your injury? I like myself, I would have trouble with that.
It is hard, and I think going back to what I was saying earlier about feeling stressed and almost losing the joy of running for a while, because you start getting in this sort of spiral. You start spiraling a little bit because everyone is performing well, and then more people start performing well, and when you sort of feel like you're the only one that hasn't stepped up that next level, it's really hard to take. And I think that's where it was just getting so stressful. And going into races, it was, like it was totally different to, for example, last Saturday where I said, I'm just going to run and whatever happens, happens. So yeah, it is hard, but then you got to sit back and think, this is good for our sport, and I'm happy for everyone that's breaking Australian records, running so well, because it shows that we can do it. So yeah.
Do you think potentially though, like I don't know whether you've looked into getting a manager, but maybe like getting a manager takes a bit of that stress out of it, because then you don't have to deal with having to find the races. You basically just focus on training, and then the manager will say, we've lined up this race, this race, this race. Because all those other girls have managers and have their races mapped out for them.
Yeah, that definitely. So now I do have James Templeton helping me. That sort of came about at the end of my trip, so it was almost a little bit too late. But yeah, so my last couple of weeks overseas, I was in Tübingen in Germany with like Cam Myers, Tom Powerfree, Sarah Carley, and James Templeton was there as well. And because I know James quite well, that's when we sort of finalised that he'll help me out from now on. But yeah, it just came a bit late. It sort of came after I needed the help.
Leanne, the ASICS range at the moment, the Super Blast 2 seems to be coming out. Is it the KAYANO 31 as well, Moose? Have I got that right?
Correct.
Yep. Thanks, Croaks, the new shoe dog. Not sure where Moose has disappeared to. And it seems every man and their dog is wearing the ASICS, I want to get this right, Meta Speed Edge Paris for racing shoes. Yep. Must be pretty excited about what's happening, what the shoes you're getting on your feet.
Yeah, well, we did get the Super Blast 2, and I took them out on the long run on the weekend. Once again, Super Blast are probably my favourite shoe. And yeah, the Edge, interesting enough, the Edge, the new Edge, I prefer over the Sky, whereas in the past, the Sky, the Edge was, I wouldn't have chosen it to race, but whatever they've done with the new Edge, it just rolls off my foot a lot better. In saying that, I will still train and occasionally race in the Sky, but the new Edge, there's just something about it that works better.
Yeah, I've heard that from heaps of people. I think that's what Andy wore when he won as well, didn't he, Croaks? Half?
Yeah, I think so.
Reece Edwards, Tommy DeCano, those guys.
So with the Edge, with the current Edge and Sky, Leanne, how would you compare the two in terms of how you feel when you're running them?
yeah, okay, so don't ask me anything about tech because so I'll just tell you how I feel. Um, the sky is a little bit softer. I also think where I land on the edge, whatever my, running form cadence is, my foot just rolls off a bit better rather than feeling like I'm just hitting the ground, which is sort of a bit of a problem for me. And so I'm just trying to think the sky I'd probably say is probably a little bit more like a vapor fly. But that could be a good thing for other people. But the edge seems to have just a little bit more stability for me. So yeah.
Okay. Hey Leanne, what's the team vibe with the ASICS, like the team tempo? And it seems to be very, like, everyone seems to get along very well as a team, even though some of you guys are based in different parts of Australia. Just some like general observations over the weekend at the Gold Coast and, the elite athlete rooms and things like that. It seems to be a team, even though you guys aren't based in the same spot.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And it's a little bit of a different setup, I guess, to most other sort of teams, because we're team tempo, but we've got obviously different coaches and we live in different states, and majority of the athletes are in Adelaide. But yeah, I think everyone's just so easygoing that it'd be hard not to get along.
Yeah, you're right. All the personalities seem very relaxed. And then what's coming up for the rest of the I guess, winter
next
marathon?
6 months.
Marathon debut was hinted at before, end of the year potential. Go win 20 grand at Melbourne.
Funny. I was listening to last week.
Oh yeah, we've got a pacemaker for you.
Yeah, when are we
and a trainer partner.
When are we starting marathon training, Leanne?
Well, I was actually thinking I'll need someone, otherwise everything will be by myself.
Yeah, we got the guy.
I might have to take you up on that.
My people will talk to Templeton and we'll sort something out.
Yeah, okay. So I don't know when marathon or which one yet. I don't think it'll be Melbourne. I think possibly Melbourne half though. I did notice that the prize money has gone up for both the half and the full. So I'll probably hit the half there. I'll do City to Surf, Sydney Harbour 10K in 2 weeks.
Yep.
I'll likely do National Cross. A bit of a trek, but cross country's fun.
Is that in
Tassie, isn't it?
Tassie.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. What else? The 10K at Sydney Marathon, because I won't be doing the marathon there, so I'll do the 10K. And hopefully another Zatopek would be good, because I think this year the national 10K champs will be a bit more competitive.
$25,000 the first prize now at Melbourne, boys. 10,000 for second. Brad Croker, top 5's looking good for you too, mate.
What's fifth? What's fifth pay?
1,250.
Gee, Leanne, that Melbourne Marathon surely is tempting to go and do it as a tempo. 25 grand.
Hang on, I'm loading the half marathon now to see what that is. She did say that it also increased, and she'd had a look at that.
I'm guessing it's not even half of the marathon.
You won't have to work for a few months, Leanne.
Run it with
That's
Croaks.
true, but do we toss up?
Oh, it's 10 grand for the half marathon.
Well, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
10 grand's pretty good for a half.
Good.
5 grand second, 2.5 third.
I reckon Leanne would get 25 just to show up as well.
For Melbourne.
I don't think so.
Yeah. Debut.
Whatever.
Debut.
Oh.
You know?
Do you reckon anyone's going to double from the Olympics?
Oh, I thought you meant the half and the full.
No.
Oh, yeah.
It's a tight turnaround. Yeah, anyway, that's something to think about. That wasn't in our notes to talk about that, but that's the exciting back end of the year for you, Leanne.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yep. No, very good, very good. What do you, like, tuning into the Olympics? Is there a bit of a weird feeling, or are you fully, like, over the fact that you didn't qualify and you can just watch it now and enjoy it? What are you looking forward to, potentially?
Yeah, looking forward to it. I always, whenever there's athletics on, or with the Olympics, any sport really, I'll watch it. I just think, well, I think any of the distances and events I'll be watching. So, I mean, I know earlier you asked me on my predictions.
Just give me one name, one person you think's going to have a really good Olympic campaign. Can be the most obvious one out there. Or
can I go with the most obvious?
Yeah, Jess. It took me a while. It took me too long to figure out who you're talking about there. Yeah, other than Jess Hull.
Okay.
Who's going to surprise us the most at the Olympics?
Well, if I'm sticking with sort of my distances, 5K, I think Rose, and I know a few weeks ago you were talking about Rose when she broke the record. And you were saying how she's sort of, that's a time now that can really get you into a final, depending on how the heat plays out. So I think Rose will probably have, I'll be surprised if she doesn't make the final, or I'd love to see her make the final. Because I think now she's able to run times. I mean, she just ran a 4:06 1500, so I think she's in a good spot. Who else? I don't know. Yeah, who else are you looking forward to?
Yeah, I don't know yet. I haven't got my head around it all yet, but I'm getting excited. It's not far away.
Yeah, and even looking at the 800, that 800 that was run, I think last weekend, I can't remember where it was. Maybe it was in Monaco or somewhere, where I think the 800 for the men is going to be super tough, because whatever that race was, I can't remember, sorry, they all ran, the whole field ran
Paris.
under like...
Paris.
Paris.
Yeah.
They all ran under like 144, and that's just, that's a tough one for our boys to,
compete with, for sure. Awesome, boys. Any more questions for Leanne before we let her go?
No, not from me.
No.
Good luck on all the upcoming races, Leanne. Massive thanks for joining us again. I know our listeners
Thank
love
you.
hearing from you, and massive thanks to your sponsor ASICS for making you available.
Thanks so much.
See you, Leanne.
Thanks, Leanne.
See ya.
Bye. Should we thank some Patreon supporters, boys?
All right.
Who we got this week, Croaks? Actually, I had a read through of these earlier. This is very good from you.
Yeah, so we gave a shout out to a Tom Dilly a few weeks ago from the UK, and then Tom Dilly, the Patreon, actually wrote on Patreon saying, shout out to the other Tom Dilly in the UK, but if it was supposed to be me, which it obviously is, definitely not a VP in finance. I'm a self-employed painter on the Gold Coast, so bringing the IQ down, haha. I then dug a bit deeper and I noticed that he's not very active on Strava, but I think he may have run 3:43 at last year's Gold Coast Marathon and 1:52 at the Gold Coast Running Festival half marathon. So, thanks for your support, Tom, from the Gold Coast.
Tom's got self-employed. He's his own boss. Bit more credit, Tom.
Painter like paints like portraits. Let's go with that. He's a
self-employed. No, that would be an artist.
I reckon he paints walls, Moose.
He paints murals on walls.
Own business owner. There's some hard work in that. You know that, Moose.
Oh, absolutely.
Self-employed. Don't talk yourself down, Tom.
Good on you, Tom. That's hard work, painting. I mean, he must be a patron of like 30 podcasts, I reckon, to get through a day painting. It would just be podcast after podcast in the years.
So we just read out a couple of weeks ago, Croaks, some other Thomas Dilly and and his job title and his PBs and stuff.
Yep. So Tom Dilly in the UK, you should probably start chipping in some Patreon money.
If anyone knows him, tell him to sign up. Who you got, Moose?
I have Nick Bardetta. He's from Bronte in New South Wales. He has run 17:17, and that was a track 5K time trial. 36:13 at the 2022 Sydney Harbour 10. 2:56 at the 2022 Gold Coast Marathon. He's the co-founder and director at Recovery, Australia's leading recovery destination. Some of the things they offer include sauna, hyperbaric chamber, Normatec, hot cold therapy, and zero gravity experience. Zero gravity takes the weight off, boys.
That's if you're in Bronte's in Sydney, isn't it, Croaks?
Yeah, it's eastern suburbs.
Jeez, if you're in that area, get in there. Wouldn't that be nice?
I think they've got a few different locations.
Have they? Okay. Thanks, Nick, for your support of the Inside Running podcast. I'm going to thank Chris Pepperell from Fairfield in Victoria. He's ran 18:14 at the 2023 Collingwood Classic. He's also ran 85:07 at the Carmen's Half Marathon and 3:02 at the 2021 Canberra Marathon. Not much on Strava since May, so we hope all is good there, Chris. And he's also the Managing Director at Bevington Group, which is Australia's leader in operating model and process transformation. What's that mean, Crooks?
Don't know.
I don't know.
Operating model and process transformation. Managing Director, though, it's a good title, Chris. You're a smart man if you got that title next to your name. Thank you for your support as well. Thank you to all our Patreon supporters for support of the Inside Running podcast, keeping us alive for 350 episodes. If you like what we do, you can support us on Patreon at patreon.com/Inside Running podcast. Do I tell them about our new bonus show here, boys? I was going to make a little promo and explain it myself. Or should I go now about Paris?
Maybe hold off one more week.
Nah, someone else will take the idea if we hold off. I've got another. I'll put a promo after this upload onto Patreon. A little jingle, bit of a thing. Right. It's going to be exciting though. I haven't been excited about bonus content like this for a long time.
But don't you want to let the non-Patreons know?
Yeah, okay. Well, let's just say this. Paris Olympics, daily show, every day of the athletics program. I think it's for 11 days. Sometimes me, Moose and Croaks. Other times some previous Olympians will be joining us. Some friends of the show who have been on some of the bonus content before will be popping in. And we're going to try and do two things that are new. First thing is we're going to try to go out live so that you'll get a live link. So if you want to listen to the show live, you have the option to do that. And you can also comment in as we're talking to be able to ask any questions or comments about what your observations are for the Olympics. And also we're going to try and make talkback work. So I tune into a lot of AFL radio stations where they get talkback listeners, and it's often a bit of a train wreck with people writing in, but I'm looking forward to having people potentially call up the show and chat to us about their observations and their predictions and their whispers and all those kind of things about the Paris Olympics. So keep an eye out for that. Start of August, Bradley. What date's it start? August 1st?
No, it's the 4th or 5th. But I think it's a Thursday night's the race walk. So obviously we'll just focus on the distance.
Oh yeah, we're not doing javelin stuff like that.
So first show might actually be on the Friday or the Saturday, depending on what events on. But from then it'll be every day.
We'll have slabs going. We'll have some big international guests as well coming in to tell us their predictions and stuff. It's going to be fun. It's going to be good. Keep an eye out for the little promo that's coming out too. Anyway, talking about Paris, Bradley, take me to the Diamond League. This happened Sunday night, so we missed it on last week's episode because we'd already recorded the live show on the Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, and so have you guys actually watched any of these races that I'm about to comment on?
No, I haven't.
I watched the last 600 metres of Jessica Hull's 1500.
All right. So I watched a bit of this tonight before the show. We'll start with the women's 15 because that was the one that I woke up Monday morning on the Gold Coast and I think I was on Instagram and there was a Jess Hull interview and I clicked on it and then when I was hearing 350, I was just like, oh my God, what is going on here? So, so basically the race starts. Kipyegon latches onto the back of the two pacemakers. Jess Hull goes with her, and then the rest of the field are gapped. And Jess just was sticking like glue to her all the way through till probably the back straight on the last lap. And close to the bell lap, Kipyegon's actually looking over her shoulder, because she probably expected to be on her own. But Jess is right there, and it was only that Faith got away maybe down the back straight and was able to then sort of pull away a little bit. But, so Faith Kipyegon 3:49.04, which was a new world record. Jess Hull, 350.83, fifth fastest time ever. Laura Muir third, 353. Lyndon Hall ran a 356.40, which was also a PB. But this was absolutely crazy. And I remember maybe talking a few months ago about like potential medal chances at the Olympics, and it's like, you sort of had Jess there, but then we spoke about who potentially else would be running, and we're like, okay, well, you got to lock Faith Kipyegon in for a medal. Safan Hassan, if she runs the 1500, which she's now down to run the 1500. You got Segai, but we don't know whether she's running the 1500. But now it's like, if Jess can replicate that sort of run, she will medal at the Olympics. And to think that we'll have a distance run and medal potentially a distance run and medal at the Olympics is pretty damn exciting. Thoughts, boys, on that?
Oh, I had to keep scrolling, just clicking on it, zooming in. I'm like, does that say 350 point? Is that a 0 or an 8? I'm like, that's a 0. I could not believe it. Fifth fastest all time. PB and Australian record by 5.14 seconds. Would have won every other women's Olympic title by over 2 seconds. 60, 62, 61, 60. It's the best Australian record, male or female, that, I'm not sure too much about the sprints, but 800 through the marathon.
Yep. Yeah, it is. But this is a brilliant time, but this was a time trial, essentially. She got the sit perfect in front of Kipyegon. It's not going to happen like this in the Olympics. It's going to be a lot different. And so you're saying, how exciting is this? We're going to have a medalist, Croaks.
No, potential medalist. Do you reckon Kipyegon's not going to let it be slow, though?
Yeah, but she ain't. She's got to get through the heat and semi. The Olympics is a different ball game. It just throws so many curveballs at you. It throws one trip in the middle of the pack, you're down, all of a sudden gone. There's just so much distance between yourself and the medal.
I guess the point I was trying to make, Moose, was that a few months ago, I couldn't see Jess winning a medal given the girls that were in front of her in terms of caliber of athlete, because you had your Kipyegon, your Hassan.
She finished fourth at the World Indoor Champs, and you couldn't see her winning a medal.
Oh, well, World Indoors is very different to the Olympics. Even up until now, Laura Muir has generally had Jess's measure, but Jess is now in that top echelon.
Yeah, 100%.
Yes, she is. I don't disagree with you. I just her performance, the best one that's happened since we've been running, outside of Bonita, and perhaps the gold medal world record from Ralph Dubell. Obviously, hard to go past that for a performance. Bonita winning world cross performance up there. There's a few other medals thrown in there and a few other world records, but this is one of the greatest that we've seen. In my time of following the sport closely, this is so far up there.
We look at the four that are faster than her now. So you got Kipyegon, you've got Dibaba that held the world record, you got Segai, and then you've got the so back when I was running 1500s, the women's world record at the time was 350.4, and it was held by that Chinese girl that was was it Mars Army or whatever? There was massive doubts over how clean that world record was. So they are the four that are in front of Jess, all time. It's crazy. So that's why I think she's a medal chance, is because she's now in that top echelon, whereas she was on the cusp. I always felt like there was maybe 3 or 4 girls that were probably a bit better than her, whereas now she's...
Yeah, a few months ago, I had her top 5, maybe can sneak a medal. But now it's the expectation is now a medal.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's a good thing for her.
I know, that's what I was about to say. I'm is this a couple months ago, pass mark was 5th. But now it's a fail is not getting a medal.
Yeah, they're just that. And some people react really well to that. Some people thrive in that environment, and others, it will play with their head.
I don't think a tactical 1500 is going to be good for Jess, so I'm hoping it's not slow, because although, 350 is great, her flat 800 still, and I think she can probably run faster than what she has over 800, But if it's a really slow first 800 of a 15, then I don't think that suits her. Whereas if it's like this, then yeah, she's more likely to medal, I think.
I think they'll have a number of scenarios mapped out and how to react to each scenario.
Yeah.
How do you run a 5-second PB over 1500? Like, it's not like she hasn't, like, it's not like she's come from college to like, okay, now she's a professional athlete. Like, she's been in these races the previous years. I know her dad's like taken over the coaching the last, 12 months? 10 months?
Maybe a bit over 12.
So do you
So
do you think
year and a half?
Because I know Chriso on the monthly, oh, by the way, the monthly's getting recorded Wednesday as well. Chriso made observations that he felt like in the last 6 months she looks stronger, like more gym work, her last 150, 200 meters, her like body complexion, I don't know, build is like, it looks stronger, like more sprinter-like than like 800, 1500 meter, distance runner.
Explosive? Like,
more explosive, yes.
More powerful.
Yeah, like it looks like she's been in the gym. You ever looked at like, probably not the best comparison, but like what Mo Farah looked like at the Com Games in Melbourne compared to what he looked like when he was winning gold medals? You ever looked like, not that Jess has that changed that much, but like she looks powerful.
I'm not sure that's the best example to use.
I thought
nothing's
it was
come
more,
out about Mo Farah.
I reckon it was more that she just was stronger in terms of her like aerobic, like last year she was there until the bell and then they were running away from her, which I feel like she's developed that strength to be able to then hold on for that last lap. Like, I haven't noticed as much about her form because like I thought she's always moved pretty well. She's always sort of had that bouncy stride. She's
in one of the best purple patches we've seen, and maybe like that momentum and having you're racing, you're on the start line, and instead of going, oh, it'd be great if I could be top 5, now you're looking around going, I'm gonna win this thing. Like, there's just a bit more swagger up there. And there's just a bit more maybe self-confidence when you come into that lap to just let the reins go a bit. And she's on it. Maybe she's on a different mental level than what she was.
More comfortable there. Could be a number of things. But hey, get your tickets to watch the Jess Hull show in a couple of weeks' time for sure.
This episode of the Inside Running Podcast is proudly brought to you by ASICS. The global performance brand of choice is excited to announce the newest iteration of a running favourite, the GEL-KAYANO 31. The 4D guidance system provides adaptive and on-demand stability, supporting runners in every step of their run. Pure gel technology helps deliver enhanced shock absorption and even smoother transitions. FF Blast plus Eco Cushioning helps provide a softer, lighter footprint for you and the planet. Men's 3K. So Jacob Crop got the win in 7:28.83. Stewie McSwain 7:29.46, only 1.5 seconds off his PB, and Sean McGordy was third in 7:35. Now, I hadn't watched this until tonight, but when the pacemakers dropped out, Stewie was pretty much on his own. Like, Crop was maybe 10, 15 metres behind him, and then the rest of the field were like 50 behind, and that was with 3 laps to go. So Stewie pretty much ran from 1,200 out to a lap out, and that's when Crop caught him. So, like, that's pretty impressive from Stewie to run that sort of time when he wasn't like he was on the back of a train for the majority of the race. So that was really good from Stewie. Men's 800 that we were talking about before with Leanne. So Sajadi got the win there in 141.56. When Yonyi was second, 141.58, and Twile was third in 141.61. So they went through 400 in just under like 49 seconds when Yonyi was actually like on the pacemaker, and then Sajadi sort of went past him with maybe 80 to go. But for context, that's the 3rd, 4th, and 5th fastest times ever, and 6 of those runners were under 142.5. So men's 800 is just gone up a level this year. And look, I wouldn't be surprised if the world record gets broken this season the way that they're going. Big call, but who knows. Steeple, Geordie Beamish finished 5th 8:09, so PB and also a new Oceania record. The race was won by Abraham Sime in 8:02. So that was Paris Diamond League.
Big one.
So good. So good. Well, some of these 800-metre guys, not that I follow it that closely, but I haven't heard a lot about him in the past.
No, because it was, what was his name? The Canadian guy.
Canadian? Rob?
Yeah, A-Rob.
Yeah.
He was sort of like
he was the man.
Big gun the last couple of
Pete
seasons.
Bowl was coming fourth.
Yeah.
Who was the podium at Tokyo?
Oh,
I'd have to put you on the spot there,
I
Croaks.
don't know.
Sorry, mate. But
Not sure, mate. But anyway, it's going to be the way that, look, hate to say it, but I think our 800-metre boys are going to find it difficult now. Like, I can't see Pete having the same success at the Olympics that he had last time, just given how quick these guys are now going.
Yeah, so he did have a 800 metres, didn't he? He ran 145.76.
Yeah, which is a good improvement on what he's been doing this season. But then when you're looking at guys that are running 141, 142, like that's a lot over the 800.
It certainly is. So Monaco Diamond League also happened.
Yeah.
So Monaco was always the fast one, but now Paris seems to be getting that reputation as well the last couple of years.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing about like all those times. Like, not taking anything away from the athletes, but it was a quick track. Like world record in the 1500 meters, Jess running super quick, Lyndon PB, and then the men's 3K. Like Stewie's run close to a PB in that 800, having 6 guys under 142.5. So it's obviously a fast track. Weather must have been good as well. Plus, I always just love like every Olympic year, athletes just rise to a new level. Like, I reckon if it was a world championship year this year and not an Olympics, I don't know whether people run this fast. Something about the Olympics where everyone just goes to a new level every 4 years. So Monaco Diamond League, men's 800, Sajati got the win again, 141.46, so slightly faster than what he ran to win Paris. Atawi was second, 142.04, and Twal was third in 142.1. There was 5 runners under 143 there. Women's 2K. So Jess Hulshow again. She smashed them. She got the win. World record, 5:19.7. The old world record was 5:21. Melissa Courtney Bryant was second in 5:26. Edna Jebitok was third in 5:26 as well. Georgia Griffith ran 5:28, which puts her 12th fastest all-time over 2K. Thoughts on this one?
For starters, I was just like, what does 2K mean?
Yeah.
And then I was like, well, hang on, a world record? Like, same thing. I had to do a bit of a double take. So amazing. I just, like, she'd have things in her contract too, wouldn't she? Like bonuses for world records?
Oh, yeah.
Smart way to do it.
Certainly.
Like, obviously, you've got to be in shape to do it. But it took me a while to actually figure out what does 5:19 mean for 2K, which is bloody quick. We're talking about 2:40, 2:39K pace.
Well, it's sub 8-minute 3K pace.
Yeah, okay.
So, like, when you put it that way, like, it's okay. Like, yeah, she's not going to hold that for another kilometre, but it's bloody quick. Like, it's a world record, but like, I probably get more excited by Jess's 350 and 5th all-time over 1,500 versus a 2K world record, because it's just not run that often. Like, Faith Kipyegon is not in the top 10 there. So, look, it's good to have a world record, but I'm more excited by the 350 that she ran.
So Benita at the live show was saying that she knew this 2K was on the schedule too, didn't she? And she was going to lose her Australian record.
She did, yeah.
Yeah, well, she went taking the world record as well, so you can feel better about yourself, Benita. It's what it is doing a good job of, though, is when you hear world record, mass media picks it up. Mm-hmm. So, like, that's got eyeballs on our sport, got extra eyeballs on Jess Hull leading into the biggest, athletics event every 4 years in a couple of weeks. So I think that's a good thing.
And it also just showed, like, how much better she is than the next group at the moment. Like, it was almost like you were watching Faith Kipyegon against, Jess Hull a few years, last year, or who was like Safan Hassan or somebody, where, they have massive gaps on the rest of the field.
Yeah.
That's what Jess was like here.
So Georgia Griffith took her 3K record, didn't she?
Yeah.
And now she's put 11 seconds into her over 2K.
Yeah.
And you'd say Georgia's probably more suited to 2K than 3K.
Yeah,
maybe not.
You'd think so.
Yeah.
I reckon Jess will have that 3K Aussie record back very soon.
She could get them all back, I think.
I think
5K
so.
as well, yeah.
Yeah. Men's 1500. Now, this was pretty impressive. Jakob got the win, 326.73, fourth fastest all time. So European record, PB for him. Tim Chariot sort of getting back into pretty good form, second in 328.71. And Brian Coleman was third in 328.8. Ollie Hall was seventh in 331.07, which was the season's best. But based on this run and how easy Ingebrigtsen did it, I think he's favourite now for the Olympics. He beat some really good runners, but they were struggling down the home straight, and he looked like he could keep going for another lap.
But Croaks, you got to remember, this isn't how the Olympics works.
Yeah, I know, but I just think...
Has he got the fastest last 150 metres?
Oh,
that's the question. That's where he's been getting rolled.
He doesn't, but he doesn't leave it to that though. He
literally did the last.
Yeah, but I don't think he does
two world
now.
Champs.
If he's running him running 326, largely solo as well. There wasn't really anybody there with him.
When did the pacer drop out?
Maybe
still getting a toe.
Close to the bell.
He's still getting someone taking the lead for a K.
It sort of reminded me back in 2019. Remember when Chariot used to just run away from the field? It was pretty much like that.
He's going to do what he did at the European Champs.
Same Chariot who comes second?
Yeah, it was Tim.
Yep.
I think it was Tim. I'll double check, but I'm pretty sure it was Tim.
He'll just turn it like what he did at the European Champs, how he just turned it up every 100 metres. I think he does that with a K to go.
Yeah.
If you listen, Jakob, that's the way to do it. 5K.
Yeah, do you want to do that one while I check this result?
Yeah, Margaret Akador, she won in 14:39. Lakina Ambual, she was second in 14:40. My girl from Japan, Tanaka, 14:40 as well. I reckon that'd be close to a PB for third. Lauren Ryan was 13th in 15:22. So a bit off Lauren's best because she has broken 15 minutes this season. And also she was named in the Australian team for the 5 and the 10K. Mm-hmm. So Jenny Blundell misses out. It was Izzy, Rose and Lauren Ryan who's going to double. This was kind of similar to the Stewie and the Cam Myers situation, wasn't it? Someone doubling and the other person missing completely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a great result. Last probably race before the Olympics, running a 15:22. Especially when there's so many others that have run faster than that. I'm not sure how this race played out.
No, well, there were people, I did look this up, there were people running 14:57 and 14:55 and stuff. It wasn't that she was just a 14:40 race and she was solo. There was people near her PBs.
Yeah.
She's been up for a long time, Lauren, though. When you think about how long ago it was when she broke the Aussie 10K record, it's sort of... she was running really well at the, start of the season, I suppose. Whereas then you look at somebody like Lyndon Hall, who was not really running great our domestic season, but then has sort of progressed and is getting better as she gets closer to the Olympics. Anyway, that was Tim Chariot, and he was only half a second off his PB, running that 328.7. Yeah.
What's he paying? We got some odds yet going on the Olympics?
I'll check, see what I can do. That's the kind of stuff we'll be covering as well, I reckon, in the daily show.
I like Chariot there.
No
Coming
way.
back, just nearly in his top form.
Josh Kerr, Nagoose, Hocker, I reckon they're all beating Timmy Chariot.
He's run 3:28, mate.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? Hall run 3 seconds back from him.
Trump's into $1.36. Haven't got any Olympic stuff yet, though. Naughty. Kanye West, 250 if you want to throw something out there, $251. Nothing on the Olympics yet.
We had some other Australians overseas, probably getting their last races in and finishing off their season. Lyndon Hall ran 1:59.72 in the 800. Bodes well for her. That's pretty solid. Sarah Billings, same race, 2 minutes 0.22. Peter Bowl, obviously, we chatted about. He's back, wouldn't say quite in form yet, but certainly some promising stuff because we haven't seen anything from him lately. So 1:45.76. It kind of gets rid of those whispers that you gave out the other day, Brady. I reckon we're going to see Bowl back in the Olympics.
Maybe they weren't my whispers, sorry. That was Croaks.
Oh, Croaks' whispers. Yeah, got that wrong. Adam Spencer, 3:53 mile at the Moreton Games in Dublin, 5th place. Good mile, 3:53. Happy with that. What's that convert to off the top of your head?
Well, 1,500.
Yeah.
Oh, he went through the 1,500 of that in like 3:37, 3:38.
Okay, so
he got beat. I watched the last 300 meters too. He got beaten pretty convincingly.
Yep. Yeah, so I wouldn't say he's going amazingly well, Adam Spencer. Since,
he was ahead at the bell.
Yeah.
So he got dropped last lap.
Yeah.
Claudia Hollingsworth.
Brian Fay.
What's up?
Brian Fay, I reckon, won it off the top of my head. He was second or third, Irish guy.
Yep. Hollingsworth, 4:03.95 for a 15. I think she was third maybe in that race. Rose Davies, 4:06 for a 15, and Izzy Batdor, 4:08. So the 5K girls stepping down there, getting some speed in their legs before their campaign at the Olympics over 5. Kenya, Bridget Kosgei, former world record holder and Olympic silver medalist, has pulled out of the Kenya marathon team, been replaced by Sharon Ledecky, the 2022 New York Marathon champion. Has she pulled out or has she been pulled out?
Well, she's pulled out with injury.
What was the injury?
Not sure.
Okay. Interesting.
Good replacement though, isn't it? When you pull in the 2022 New York Marathon champion.
Good over the heels.
Yeah. You reckon they looked at that?
I was surprised she wasn't in originally, actually, because didn't she run really well at Boston as well? Sharon, I'm just looking her up now. I'm pretty sure she did.
But
I guess when you're a 2:14 lady, it's hard to leave them off the team. Former world record holder.
So she's pulled out now, given them a lot of time to prepare for it. No, not a lot of time. Did she pull out about a week ago, was it? Or maybe
I reckon well, who knows when she pulled out. I think the report was about a week ago. Yeah.
She comes second at Boston.
Yeah. Behind Helena Berry.
Yeah, that's right. It is interesting, though. You can go to the World Athletics website and you can see who each country is listed as their reserve. So when I went to Australia's listed, so Lisa Waitman is the reserve for the marathon. The men's team, we don't have a reserve. And then in the 5K, Jenny Blundell's written there. The 1500, Kat Myers is there. I'm not sure if that's Athletics Australia, adding them there, or is it just other people who are in the ranking and then World Athletics puts them there?
No, I think it's Athletics Australia would name their reserve.
Because there could be more than one, couldn't there?
Yeah, but I've got a feeling...
Eloise would have been in that reserve list as well.
Yeah, exactly. And the reason why, Andy's not in the men's was because I think the AA selection criteria had that they would only be selecting people that have basically qualified either by time or through the quota. So the people that you just listed off as reserves, they all were within the quota or qualified on time, whereas Andy was outside the quota for the marathon, but that comes down to, I think, the Athletics Australia selection policy, because the third guy from the US is that Lenny Career.
Yeah, he was outside of the quota.
He's outside the quota, but in their selection criteria, obviously it's top 3 at the trials if the US have 3 spots, sort of thing.
Wasn't the marathon different with that 2:11 thing?
Yeah, potentially. I think you can probably send a runner that's run 2:11, but the AA selection criteria says that we're only going to be selecting people who have met the standards.
So, like, complete hypothetical here. One of our men gets injured, cannot run the marathon, because Athletics Australia policy isn't the same as the US's policy. Even though we've unlocked 3 spots, they then wouldn't send Andy to fill that spot.
Well, it looks that way based on the fact that Andy hasn't been named as a reserve and that the selection criteria says that they'll be selecting people who have met the time or are within the quota.
Wow.
On the Olympic team, should we quickly rattle off, because the team was announced like within the last week, and so should we just go through the ones where there was still spots open and who's been selected?
Yeah.
All right. So in the women's 800, we already had Claudia and Abby selected. The selectors chose Kat Bissett for that 3rd spot. Jess Hull was the only athlete originally selected in the women's 15, and we have now Georgia Griffith and Lyndon Hall as the other 2. The women's 5K, we've got Rose Davies, Izzy Bat-Doyle, Lauren Ryan. Lauren Ryan also in the 10K. We know the women's marathon team. Steeplechase, we've got Amy Cashin and Cara Fien Ryan. And then in the men's, we have Peter Boll, Joseph Deng, and Peyton Craig. 1500, we spoke about that one last week. Spencer, Ollie Hoare, and Stewie McSwain. 5K will be Morgan McDonald and Stewie. We know the marathon team, and the men's steeple is Matt Clark and Ben Buckingham.
Good team. Second biggest team we've sent, isn't it? Up behind Sydney Olympics.
Yeah, I think so. Yep.
Pretty good. Got a bit of everything in there, don't we? Experience, youth, people running PBs and world records.
I'm excited. It's going to be a good Olympics. Like first, yeah, like it's an Olympics where Australia are actually like fairly competitive in a lot of events.
Oh, we should get a lot of people into the finals.
You'd think so. Yeah.
I thought we did pretty well in Tokyo, actually, in terms of finals content. But I'm not sure. Yeah, it's...
you're right. 800 men, Pete Bowl, and then the women and the men in the 1500.
Yeah, it's going to be hard.
I think the 5K is where we need to step up.
Yeah, I'm not sure about the 5. I'm not sure I can see it happening. I just... Maybe, obviously, Stewie. I can see Stewie stepping up there. But Morgan's apparently pretty fit. A few whispers that he's like ready to go, sub 13 shape.
Yeah, don't sleep on Morgan. Like as we said before, like he was beating Grant Fisher. Like he's got the potential.
Don't sleep on Morgan is the most overused. People have been saying that every year. So what are your predictions for the year? Yeah, don't sleep on Morgan McDonald. He beat Grant Fisher at cross country at uni. One of these years is going to come off.
He beat Grant Fisher when he was...
One day, well, in a few years' time when he breaks the world record, and we'll go, remember? Hey, don't sleep on Morgan.
I used to beat Andy Buchanan too once upon a time.
Yeah, so did I.
Yeah. And Stewie, didn't you?
Oh, yeah. Oh, no, Stewie beat me. Yeah.
Changing tune, boys. Drugs. Lawrence Chirono, you'd know him because he's got a PB of 203. He's also won Boston and Chicago. He's been banned for 7 years for doping and trying to use fake documents to explain his failed drug test. He is a Kenyan athlete. He tested positive back in 2022, just before he was due to compete at the World Championships in Eugene. So it must have been a lot of appeals and stuff. 2020.
Did we know about this, though?
I think so. I think we would have reported. Yeah, I reckon we would have reported on it a while back. But then it's, how all this stuff then, this is when the sentence, I suppose, is handed down, how many years it's going to be. I'm sure we would have.
I'm searching it now in our documents, but yeah, I reckon was that why it wasn't as shocking, or I'm just immune to it now that another Kenyan athlete gets popped?
Because there would have been some talk why he pulled out of the world champs.
Yeah, I don't know.
Typed him in, boys, didn't find him there. Episode 246, Croaks.
There we go.
Spoke about him then.
What, for doping?
Yeah, I'm just trying to find where we mentioned him there.
Because we talked about him winning Valencia.
Yeah, he was temporarily suspended by Athletes Integrity Unit.
Have a look at this.
Trimethazine.
We talked about him in episode 214, right? Chirono clocked 2:05 to fend off Ethiopian Deso Chalu in a sprint finish. Former winner Kamworwa was fourth. The win by Chirono comes after victories in Chicago and Boston in 2019, Amsterdam in 2018 and 17, Honolulu in 17, Czech in 2016, and Seville in 2015.
He took. This is the other notes I've got from episode 246. He took fourth place in the marathon distance in last year's Tokyo Olympics, and is the seventh fastest of all time.
Yeah, and
it makes me sick.
It's so one-dimensional. It's just coming out of the same country, and it's coming out of people get sick of us saying, "Oh, it's suspect." Whenever you see these crazy performances from Kenya, this is the reason why it's suspect. Because it happens so often that people are getting pinged for doping. You can't just ignore the fact of that, and it creates suspicion amongst the entire country.
Just especially like top dogs like this.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at 203, right? How do you look at 203s in the future and go, "Oh, I bet that one's legal," or "I bet that."
Or anyone who wins these major marathons.
Yeah.
Because the guy that won Chicago and Boston got popped.
You can't look at it. And so now I've sort of started looking at it a little bit differently and just enjoy this race for what it is and don't compare them to you. I'm not saying that you would ever be able to compare yourself to someone like that, but there's probably not an even playing field out there. Just take the race as it is. And if you think about it too much, then it's going to be very disappointing and you're going to ruin your love for the sport. So you almost have to put your head in the sand and just watch them just watch the races race.
As entertainment. New South Wales short course cross country happened. Last bit of news. Lachlan Townsend got the win, 23.39. Luke Hint second, 23.44. Ben Thomas third, 23.59. Jayla Hancock Cameron won the women's in 26.32. Danette Sheehan was second in 27.03. And Leela Lykotis was third in 27.05. Bit of a sprint finish there, I reckon, for second and third. That's a wrap of all the news. Lots happened. Well done, fellas. We got through that. Listen to question, Croaks. Let's whistle through this, I wouldn't mind going to bed at a decent hour.
Yeah. When you coach busy athletes, is it worth them running slightly quicker, easy days to hit more mileage per week, or do you think you don't have enough time with work, family, etc.? You should just do less mileage. And that question comes from Dan.
Short answer here, it's not worth them doing that.
Less mileage.
Every day has a purpose, and on your recovery days, I think it's important that you recover.
Yeah, the busyness creates stress that needs to be accounted for. And so you don't just get to ignore that and run faster to try to hit more Ks. I just don't think it works like that. I think it probably creates more problems than it would actually solve.
Yeah.
You go, Crooks.
Just if you're running fast the day after a session just to chase Ks, then you're not recovering from that session. Or if you're running fast the day before a session to chase Ks, you're probably not going to get the most out of the session the day after. So you're better off just running less mileage and focusing on, as you said, the key purpose for the day or the run.
Yeah, and if you've got 40 minutes, then you do 40 minutes of that particular purpose run. You don't go and change the purpose and do 40 minutes worth of another purpose, like you said.
Yeah. Do you reckon sometimes people get a bit too caught up on weekly mileage as well? I know that's how we end our weekly summaries every week, on weekly mileage. But if you sit back and go, hey, I've ticked off my purpose, I've done a couple of workouts, I've done a longer run, I've done some recovery jogging, isn't that enough to be satisfied with without going, but did it equal X amount of Ks?
Yeah, I think we do get too caught up on what your weekly mileage is.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the weekly mileage is an indicator of
it's still important, I know.
Volume of training, right?
Yeah.
And in order to track volume of training, you need to look at hours run or distance run. And so I don't when you start chasing it, it's a problem when you start forcing things to achieve it. But I don't mind using it as a reference point for, are we going to do more or less? So looking at the week before, going, we did 110K last week. I want this week to be bigger. We're going to run 125K. So it still serves a purpose, in that regard, because you're prescribing a higher volume, which is a higher stress. so it's not irrelevant.
Yeah. I just saw this tweet today. I'm just going to read it out to you. Give me your thoughts on this one. It said, stop coaching amateurs like they're professionals. When they work 8 to 10 hours a day, juggle stress, family and friends, and barely have time to recover, you need a master prescribing the minimum effort dose. I see runners with 1 to 2 years experience running 6 days a week. Volume is earned by the years you've been consistently running, like progressing through karate belts. You can't get a black belt in 1 to 2 years, yet some runners are being pushed into advanced levels too quickly. Do you like that?
I semi-agree with that, but then I semi-disagree as well.
Which part do you disagree with?
The frequency thing.
Yeah, the 6 days.
Yeah, but yeah. I agree that people are going... and I agree that's the trap I fell into, and how it ruined my progression really quickly is chasing it, is basically trying to emulate what the best people are doing, thinking that's the path to greatness.
Yeah, because you could be doing, 25 to 30 minutes easy jogging 5 of those days and one workout, and that's not replicating what the pros are doing.
Yeah. You can, but I do think that when people chase it, and the people that chase it and get hurt the most are the ones with athletic ability, but without the conditioning in their body. And so a lot of I see it in the store a lot is footy players that have finished playing footy. They're still athletic people, they're fit, they're healthy, but their body doesn't tolerate the volume that they can physically get through. Like aerobically, they're fine, but they just don't have the musculoskeletal strength to do it, and they get hurt really quickly.
And they're driven and they're motivated. Like they have got that fire in their belly still from competitive sport.
Yeah, and they're used to thinking that the harder working you are, the quicker it will come. And so I'm going to work as hard as possible, and that means that I'm going to run as much as I can, and those runs are going to be solid. And so that's the definition of working hard for someone that it isn't really across running.
Yeah. Whispers, we've had a bit of feedback from the Whispers last week about Brett Robinson's current situation. Gone dark, still dark on Strava, still dark on his podcast. Not going to talk about his current condition, which doesn't give me any answers to my whispers, but the DMs have been getting a few responses. I'm not a journalist, so I don't think I'm in the position to be like, this is what I've heard, and I do not want to speculate, but I really do hope everything's going well for Brett in his build-up for the Paris Olympic Marathon. He's obviously our greatest marathon runner of all time. I think he's got some unfinished business.
Hold up. He's our fastest marathoner of all time.
Yeah, but he had disappointing result at Tokyo, 66 of 70.
He's our greatest marathon runner.
Sorry, greatest finisher, fastest time. You know what I meant.
Fastest marathoner and
fastest.
Greatest marathoner.
He is our record holder over the marathon distance, is what I meant. Thanks for pulling me up there. And I think there's a lot of people who want to see him run well at Paris, but no one knows what his health injury situation is.
It's not looking good based on Strava. Like he has been injured, hasn't he?
Yeah.
No one knows, mate. Yeah. So hashtag pray for Brett. Yeah, we'll see what comes out in the next couple of weeks or so. But it's looking like, because initially I was like, if he says something, does that then put pressure on him giving up his spot for Andy? But if Andy can't be subbed into that position,
I think it looks like it's like Tokyo by all accounts. Is that like Jack Rayner was injured, but there was no one to take his spot.
Yeah.
So you start becoming a 2 or 3 time Olympian.
Well, I don't know the details of it, but if there's no one behind him, there's no point not starting, or there's no point not going through with it, is there?
But so Jack obviously ran, what did he do, like 5K and then pulled out. Like Brett's been to like multiple Olympics. Like let's say that he does have like a serious injury and could maybe get to the start line, but 1, is unlikely to be like super fit, 2, potentially re-injure himself by doing the marathon. does he why would he do it? Like, you know, he can go and make money or go and do a race somewhere else. Like, you don't want to be on the sidelines injured again by trying to start the marathon, I suppose.
What if he just goes in with the full intention to pull out close to immediately, just to? I think it's the Olympics, and I think if you're not putting anyone else out, I'm going there and doing that. Doesn't matter if it's your third or your fourth or your fifth. Still the Olympics. Go and have the experience. I mean, you earned it. You earned your spot there. Go and collect the experience. I know it's not what you want. I don't think it really matters that it's not his first, and it won't be his only Olympics. I'm still there doing that.
It's a shame Andy's not in contention though, like, because obviously he showed at Gold Coast that he's fit, and that course would suit Andy with the hills, cross country background.
Would there be a lot of people in that race as well who are slower than Andy but have more points, or not? Off the top of your head?
Oh well, Lenny Career, so the US guy, so Andy ran faster than him during the qualification period. Okay. So Andy's 2:08's faster than what that Leonard Career's run during this Olympic qualification period.
Yeah, he earned his spot though. US trials, hot, hilly. Was it hilly? Don't think it was hot. Well, hilly. Let's see. Moose on the loose. Bring us home, Moose.
Oh, I don't have a ton here for you, fellas. I think I'll just throw one out to you, though. What's the appropriate time post-baby that the male athlete should return to group training? Got an answer for me there?
No, everyone's situation is different. This is very dangerous territory to be getting into. and I think it's directed at Jimmy Friend.
No. Jimmy was back on Sunday.
Okay.
Great run.
Jimmy's had a baby recently. I thought it was a congratulations to him.
It's not at all. It's a conversation that was had about someone else making a sledge to a fellow runner in Melbourne about how they didn't show up to a session, and it was their first one that was supposed to come back after the birth of their child, and they didn't get any sleep the night before, so they didn't make it to the session. And then there was someone that carried on a bit about that. The
person carrying on have children?
No.
Yeah, don't go judging people who've got newborn babies at home. If you don't have a baby yourself.
No, I'm with you. I know.
100%.
It's a different dynamic in the house. I would have been that person.
Yeah, so would have I reckon. How hard could it be?
Yeah, just get up earlier.
Yeah, go to bed. Sleep when they sleep.
Yeah, it's not like you're going to feed her. You don't have the breasts here.
Yeah. Nah, we've grown up a bit, I reckon, on this show.
Yeah, and now I'm taking the side of the daddy here.
So
I'm with the daddy. Daddies unite.
I like that. Croaks, what are you doing between now and next week?
MRI tomorrow, then fly back home. Nothing too much. Another week of school holidays, so looking after the kids. And, that's about it.
Moose, what are you doing?
Bloody lots of holidays, you blokes.
I'm back at work, Victoria. We're back at school already. Back today.
This week, let me look at my calendar for you. I've got to go to Bundoora and beat about 3 people to win 3 slabs.
By over 30 seconds.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I just got to not lose by 30 seconds to one of them.
Yeah. London Diamond League's happening 20th of July. Can I also just promote this local fun run in town, boys? The one I help raise money for every year. Run at Chukamoama, Sunday the 4th of August. If you want to run a half marathon or a 10K into Chukamoama or a 5K, come to a Chukamoama and do that, boys. Get on it.
Just make sure you answer and run with a bib. Don't
go jumping on the course. This is raising money for people with a disability to build houses for them. Don't go bandit.
That's a fundraiser. Yeah, chuck some money in there for them for sure. You're not banditing that race.
Definitely don't bandit at this one. Anyway, boys, we're done. It's episode 350. We'll do it all again next week. Oh, we got a week. I think I've got a weekend interview, fresh one coming as well. been going back and forth with someone who may be in action at the Paris Olympics, trying to chat with them. Ooh. See you, boys. We're done.
See ya.
See ya.
Thank you again to this episode's sponsor, ASICS. The ASICS GEL-KAYANO 31 provides runners with adaptive stability and softer than ever cushioning. Visit asics.com or your specialty running store to grab your pair today.
Doesn't matter if it don't come back. So sad.